Mid-career crisis. Reignite your passion. It is late at night, and the office is quiet except for the hum of fluorescent lights. A man in his late 30s stares at the glowing screen, his tie loosened, his coffee cold. He has worked hard for over a decade, climbing the corporate ladder step by step. But tonight, something feels missing. The title on his business card is respectable, the paycheck steady, yet in his heart a question lingers. Is this all there is? This is the silent ache many people feel in their mid-career years. Between 30 and 40, the rush of early ambition often gives way to a heavy stillness. Success on paper does not always match the passion inside. The sense of running in circles, of losing spark, can make even small tasks feel like mountains. If you have ever felt that way, you are not alone. Welcome, friends, to Learn English Listening. My name is Lydia, and I will be your guide today. This channel is here to give you more than vocabulary or grammar. It is here to give you courage. While you practice listening to English, you will also hear stories that remind you of who you are and what you can become. So let me ask you, which city are you joining us from, and what hour is it there? I love to imagine people listening from across the world, some in the quiet of dawn, others in the middle of their busy day, and some in the stillness of midnight. Tonight's journey is about facing the mid-career crisis, not as an ending, but as an invitation. Together, we will learn how to reignite your passion, rediscover your purpose, and even pick up some English phrases that will stay with you long after this video ends. There comes a season in life when the mirror feels heavier than the morning alarm. You look at yourself and wonder how the years passed so quickly. Between 30 and 40, many of us carry invisible weights, student loans that never seem to end, bills stacked like dominoes, the constant balance between work demands and family needs. At first, a career feels like a race worth running, but somewhere along the way, the race changes. You glance sideways and see classmates, colleagues, or even strangers online who seem to be winning faster than you. Comparison can be cruel. A friend buys a bigger house, another launches a new business, someone else posts photos of travel adventures. You sit in traffic on the way to the same office, and your heart whispers, "Am I falling behind?" These questions do not make you weak. They make you human. The crisis of mid-career is not always about failure. Sometimes it is about silence, about wondering whether the dream you once chased still belongs to you. I once knew a man who worked tirelessly in finance. On weekends, he would sit at his desk scrolling through reports, but his eyes would drift to the guitar resting in the corner of his room. Music had been his first love, but in the pursuit of stability, he locked that part of himself away. At 38, he admitted that he felt like two different people, one who paid the bills and another who longed to breathe again. Maybe you too have felt that divide. Maybe you smile at meetings, yet inside, you are asking bigger questions. Have you ever felt stuck in this same way? If so, pause here. Take a breath. Understand that your feelings are not a sign of weakness, but a sign that your soul is craving something more. This reflection matters because the struggle is not the full story. It is only the beginning. The very questions you fear are also the seeds of your renewal. Every story of renewal begins with a discovery, often hidden in plain sight. The mid-career crisis may look like a wall, but it is actually a doorway. Behind the questions of, "Am I too late?" or "Have I lost my chance?" lies the key to a new chapter. The first phrase I want to share with you is, reinvent yourself. In English, it means to reshape your identity. to design a fresh version of who you are. Reinventing yourself does not erase your past. It builds upon it. Think of it like remodeling a house. You keep the foundation, but you add new colors, new rooms, and new possibilities. The second phrase is chase a new dream. To chase means to run after something you desire, not in desperation, but with determination. Sometimes the dream you carried at 20 may not be the one that fits at 35. Life changes, and so do you. To chase a new dream is not to betray your old one, but to honor your growth. And the third phrase is step into your purpose. This phrase suggests movement, action, and courage. Purpose is not always something you wait to discover. Sometimes it is something you step into by trying, by learning, by daring. Let me give you an example. A woman I know spent 15 years in marketing. She was skilled, respected, and yet empty inside. When her company downsized, she faced the fear of starting over. But instead of panicking, she chose to reinvent herself. She returned to school, studied design, and began to chase a new dream. Today, she speaks proudly of how she finally stepped into her purpose. Sometimes the words themselves carry power. Saying out loud, "I will reinvent myself," or "I will chase a new dream," shifts the atmosphere inside you. Language shapes belief, and belief shapes action. Each phrase is not just English practice. It is a reminder that you are capable of writing a different ending to your own story, starting now. The key is this: your crisis is not a signal of defeat. It is an invitation to open the door, to take one step toward a life that feels alive again. The turning point often comes wrapped in fear. Imagine standing at the edge of a bridge, the wind pushing against you, the drop below, looking endless. That is what it feels like to leave behind what is safe, even if safe has grown suffocating. There was once a man who had worked in IT for nearly 2 decades. His days were predictable, his paycheck reliable, but inside he felt like a shadow of himself. At 40, he decided to learn culinary arts, something he had loved as a teenager but buried for the sake of practicality. The first day he entered the cooking school, his hands shook. He wondered if the younger students would laugh at him, if he was too late to start again. The weeks were not easy. He burned dishes, misunderstood recipes, and questioned his decision. Yet with every mistake, he also felt something he had not felt in years: passion. Slowly, the fear gave way to energy, and the energy gave way to joy. Eventually, he opened a small cafe, modest but full of warmth. When asked why he made the change, he simply said, "Because I wanted to feel alive again." What made his journey remarkable was not only the cafe he built, but the way he carried himself differently. His laughter returned, his eyes shone with curiosity again, and even his relationships grew deeper. The courage to take one step transformed not only his work, but also the way he lived each ordinary moment of life. This is the heart of transformation. It is rarely smooth. It demands sacrifice, and it often means being misunderstood. But it also gives you back the fire that routine had quietly stolen. So I ask you, if you could change one habit this week, what would it be? Not a grand leap, not a total reinvention in one day, but one habit. A small decision that points your life towards something that makes you breathe deeper. In the emotional climax of every crisis lies the moment of decision. Will you stand still on the bridge, or will you step forward, even with trembling feet? When storms rage, a tree bends but does not break, its roots hold firm. And when the skies clear, the branches stretch wider than before. Your mid-career crisis can feel like a storm, but it is also the rain that feeds your growth. Think of your journey as a garden. The early years were the planting season, seeds of education, first jobs, first attempts. Now, in your 30s or 40s, the soil may look tired, but beneath the surface, nutrients are waiting to nourish something new. Crisis, in this sense, is not the end of the garden. It is the pruning, the cutting away of branches that no longer bear fruit. Take a quiet moment to ask yourself, what have I learned from these years of work? Even if the passion has dimmed, the skills, the resilience, and the discipline remain. These are not wasted years. They are the rich soil of your next beginning. A mid-career shift does not erase your history. It reframes it. Every late night, every challenge, every lesson becomes part of the foundation for what comes next. Your story is not broken. It is simply unfolding into a new chapter. Think of the scars you carry, not as marks of failure, but as proof of survival. Each scar tells a story of resilience, a sign that you endured and learned. Just like cracked earth that welcomes new rain, your struggles create the very space where fresh growth can spring up, stronger and more beautiful than before. You are not too late. You are right on time. Now, imagine yourself standing at a crossroad. To one side is comfort, the familiar desk, the steady paycheck, the predictable days. To the other side is growth, uncertain, challenging, but alive with possibility. The choice is not easy. Comfort is safe, but growth is meaningful. At this moment, you may not be ready to leap into a new dream, and that is okay. Growth does not always begin with a leap. Sometimes it begins with a whisper. It can be as small as signing up for a class, as gentle as journaling your ideas, or as brave as telling someone you trust about the change stirring in your heart. The question is simple, yet powerful. At this moment, you stand between comfort and growth. Which path will you take? Whatever your answer today, remember this. You are capable of reinventing yourself, of chasing a new dream, of stepping into your purpose. The mid-career crisis is not your ending. It is your invitation. If this video gave you something meaningful, share it with someone who needs encouragement today. And subscribe to keep walking with us on this journey of English and self-growth. Together, we will keep learning, step by step, phrase by phrase, and dream by dream. And as you close this video, let your heart carry one quiet promise. Tomorrow does not have to look like yesterday. With every sunrise, you are given a new chance to begin again, to write a different story, and to live a life that feels true to who you are.